Well, sir, did you know, and were you perhaps romantically involved with a young lady by the name of Phyllis at that time? And he said, well, yes. And I said, well, sir, I don't know how many kids you have, but there's a strong likelihood that you have one more than you know.
Bob Weir, co-founder of the Grateful Dead, has always been open about how deeply personal relationships have shaped his life. His connection with his father, both biological and adoptive, played a significant role in his journey. The death of his biological father, Jack Parber, in 2015 marked a profound moment in Weir's life. Today we're taking a closer look at how his father's death impacted him, as well as how Weir's personal experiences have influenced his legendary career. Early life. Bob Weir was born October 16, 1947, and raised in Atherton, California. Adopted by Frederick and Eleanor Weir, he grew up in a supportive, affluent family. Music became an early passion for Weir, and by the age of 13, he had already begun exploring his talents on the guitar. His journey towards stardom, however, would later become intertwined with a deeply personal discovery. In the mid-90s, Weir learned more about his biological parents, including his father, Jack Parber, an Air Force colonel. Initially hesitant to connect with Parber, Weir took several years to come to terms with the idea of rekindling a relationship with him. It wasn't until 1996, years after discovering his father's identity, that Bob Weir decided to meet Jack Parber in person. The decision to form a relationship with his biological father came after decades of reflection and consideration. Reflecting on his upbringing and adoptive parents, Weir often spoke highly of them, stating they gave him a solid foundation and unwavering support. Bob Weir's relationship with his father.
And we arranged to meet the next day for lunch, and at lunch, at first, there was a lot of...
Really looking you over and you looking him over.
Yeah, both. You know, both of us very acutely interested in what this other guy's all about. And after about 20 minutes, we became very, very close friends.
Bob Weir's relationship with his biological father, Jack Parber, was complex and marked by years of contemplation before he finally reached out. In 1996, decades after first learning about Parber, Weir made the decision to contact his father. Describing the encounter, Weir said, quote, "There were things about him that I could see in myself." This connection, which came much later in life, provided a new sense of closure for Weir, even though they had missed many years together. Despite the late start, their relationship grew strong as they spent time together. Weir often spoke about how much they had in common, particularly their shared love for adventure and music. Quote, "We were very much alike in ways that surprised me," he once shared. The relationship between the two men flourished in the years following their reunion. Parber passed away in 2015, a loss that hit Weir hard, but it was clear that their late-found bond had given him comfort. Reflecting on his father's death, Weir said, quote, "It's never too late to make things right with family." These sentiments offered a glimpse into how much the relationship meant to him and how much it impacted his understanding of family. The reconciliation with his father also opened doors for Weir to reflect on his own role as a father. He began to understand how parenthood shaped him, not only through the lens of his own experience, but also through the newfound connection with Parber. These insights would become crucial in both his personal and professional life. Career beginnings and rise to fame.
You know, it started for me on a New Year's Eve between 1963 and 64. I was wandering the back streets of Palo Alto with a couple of friends, and we heard banjo music coming out from behind the music store that we used to frequent. We were folkies at the time.
Bob Weir's journey into music began during his teenage years in Palo Alto, California, where he found himself immersed in the folk scene. A pivotal moment came on New Year's Eve in 1963 when Weir, still a high schooler, met Jerry Garcia at a music store. Garcia was initially uninterested in starting a rock band, but Weir convinced him otherwise, and they went on to form what would become the Grateful Dead. The band became a countercultural icon, merging elements of rock, blues, and folk into a unique sound. As the Grateful Dead's rhythm guitarist, Weir developed a style that set him apart from other musicians. He often played in complex patterns, pushing the boundaries of traditional rhythm guitar. This added depth and texture to the band's improvisational sound. Weir was known for being the youngest member of the band, and over the years he became a key figure in shaping their music. Songs like Sugar Magnolia and Playing in the Band became signature tracks of the Grateful Dead, with Weir's vocals and musical input being central to their success. Reflecting on those early days, Weir once said, quote, "I was really just trying to keep up with everyone else. Jerry and Phil Lesh were light years ahead of me musically, but that pushed me to be better. As the Grateful Dead grew in popularity, Weir's role expanded not just as a musician, but as a songwriter and vocalist as well. His contributions helped create the band's diverse catalog, which spanned many genres and styles. By the time the Grateful Dead reached their peak in the 1970s, Weir had established himself as a versatile and innovative guitarist. The Grateful Dead's Wall of Sound tours and their enduring legacy as a touring juggernaut were partly a result of Weir's creative input, which complemented Garcia's lead guitar work. Throughout his career, Bob Weir became an indispensable part of the Grateful Dead's identity and legacy. His ability to blend folk, rock, and blues set him apart as an innovative guitarist, and his contributions extended far beyond rhythm playing. Songs like Truckin' and Cassidy became synonymous with Weir's songwriting prowess. As the band's success soared, Weir also embarked on solo projects, releasing albums like Ace in 1972, which featured iconic Grateful Dead members. His solo work reflected his desire to explore new musical territories, a trait that continued throughout his career. In later years, he co-founded Rat Dog, a band that allowed him to reinterpret Grateful Dead classics while incorporating new material. His willingness to push boundaries earned him respect within the jam band community, further cementing his legacy as one of the genre's greats. Speaking about his career, he once noted, quote, "I never really thought about the long term. I just wanted to keep playing music I loved." His passion and perseverance led to the formation of Dead & Company, a project alongside former Grateful Dead members and John Mayer, which reignited the spirit of the Dead for new generations of fans. Bob Weir's personal life. Bob Weir's personal life has been shaped by his music career, but his relationships with family and loved ones have played an equally significant life. In 1999, he married Natasha Munter, and together they have 2 daughters, Chloe and Shala. Parenthood offered Weir a new perspective, deepening his understanding of family, especially after reuniting with his biological father. Reflecting on the importance of fatherhood, Weir once shared, quote, "Having kids really changes you. It made me think a lot about my own parents and the things I never really understood until now." Weir's relationship with his daughters has been an essential part of his personal journey. Despite the demands of his career, he's often spoken about the balance between music and family, noting that his children help ground him. Quote, "Being a dad gave me a new kind of patience," he once said. Reflections on loss and family. The death of Bob's biological father, Jack Parber, in 2015 profoundly impacted Weir, adding another layer of reflection on the importance of family and reconciliation. Though their relationship came later in life, Weir often spoke about the connection they shared and the understanding he gained from finally knowing his father. Quote, "It's never too late to make peace with your family," Weir said in an interview, underscoring the significance of his relationship with Parber and how it helped him confront issues of identity, love, and forgiveness. He's reflected on how his father's passing brought a new sense of clarity to his views on life and death. He acknowledged that while their time together was short, it was deeply meaningful. The loss of his father made Weir more appreciative of his own family and the time he spends with his children. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite Grateful Dead song? Let us know in the comments section below.